Welcome back to Crop Talk. I'm Karston Donovan. On this series, we usually talk crop insurance, commodity prices, and markets. But today is a little different and potentially, hopefully, a little more impactful as we dig into mental health in rural communities. I'm joined today by Natalie Kerfoot. Natalie grew up and still lives in Sunburst, where her family runs an active farm and ranch, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I first heard her speak at the Montana Grain Growers Association convention in Great Falls a couple years back. And her story is one that stuck with me long after I left that room that day. So I'm glad to finally have her on here and talk about this topic. So Natalie, first off, thanks for being on. I'd love for folks to hear it straight from you. So go ahead, tell us your story as much as you want, and how you became essentially a voice for mental health out here in rural Montana.
So as you mentioned, I grew up on a farm and ranch here in Montana, and our family roots are very deep here. It goes way back to 1890, and it's been owned by the same family. So we are a centurion farm and ranch, and I'm very passionate about agriculture, even though that's not what I do day to day for a living. I love the lifestyle. I love the people. I love the work. And the mental health part of it came much later in life. I recognized my own struggle years later with suicidal thoughts specifically. But back up to my young marriage, I had depression. And I know that it started at the age of 16, actually reflecting upon it now, but I suffered from depression. And after my sons were grown and I received my master's degree in school counseling, I started to reflect and realize that, it's been a part of my journey. It's been a part of my story for most of my life. And I wanted to share that with others because I realized along the way that I am not the only one in the ag world or the ag community that has felt like I couldn't say anything about what I was going through. But that's false. That's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started sharing my story because it's in the sharing of our stories where we make connections and where we build bridges and where we learn from one another. And so
Yeah.
that's where the advocate part came into play.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I guess my first question for you feeds off of kind of the last little bit you were talking about there. And I feel like a big piece, not I'm probably everywhere, but I feel like it's harder and more of a problem, I guess, in our area is that the kind of the stigma out there of, the farming and ranching community of you just tough it out and you just get through it mindset. But then also, like you talked about, of I know there's with anything, but definitely mental health, the fear of the rumor mill that if you stop at a mental health place and somebody sees your vehicle out front, are people going to talk about you? Or, if you go talk to somebody, are they going to tell somebody else? And just that fear of the rumor mill, because we all know and we all suffer from the, local rumor mill, whether it's good or bad. But so I guess my just question about it is, how do we combat that to make sure people know that you don't have to tough it out? There's people there for you. You don't have to fear the rumor mill, or I guess how to get over those obstacles so that the people that need help can feel open to do so.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same for you, but anyone though could say, yeah, that's right, Natalie, that we never grew up and hearing in our education that, you're going to have to grow up and just do it all on your own. And the stigma part of it, I mean, so that goes for anything. And what we're doing right now is helping with the stigma. Tough it out. This is tough,
Mm-hmm.
talking about it in the open and sharing your personal story of struggle. That is tough. And I guess I just came to a part in my life or a stage in my life where, if it were any other kind of an illness, I wouldn't care if people knew about it. And we have just got to get over this mindset of I don't want anyone to know, because that's what's killing people,
Mm-hmm.
is hiding it. And it's really tough to speak about it and to seek help. And there are ways to go about it. So if you're unwilling to first of all talk to a trusted adult in your life that you are struggling, if you are unable to do that, there are ways that you can help yourself. So let's start with that. But tough is talking about it. And tough is saying, I don't care what those people think about me. I deserve help. I matter, and I'm going to get the help that I need, because mental health is health. Mental health illnesses are treatable, they're real, just like physical illnesses or diseases, and we need to recognize them as such
Mm-hmm.
to help others step out and get the help that they deserve and that they need.
Mm-hmm.
That has to change.
Yeah.
So we do it as individuals, and I think, it can start in our homes when we're little kids. I don't know if you remember this, but for me growing up, it was drugs, the commercial, an egg frying in a frying pan. This is
Mm-hmm.
your brain. This is your brain on drugs. And they show the egg frying in the frying pan. And so our parents and our teachers, they talk to us about those things. And it kind of went by the wayside because it was taken care of in the home. And I think the same thing for mental health. We need to start talking to our kids at a young age that, you are resilient. Let's talk about some of those challenges that you have overcome.
Mm-hmm.
And recognizing in our homes that just like when we get sick and we seek the help of a doctor, when
Mm-hmm.
we are struggling mentally, we need to seek the help of a doctor because something physical is happening
Mm-hmm.
and we can change it.
Yeah.
There's treatment.
Yeah. And so I guess on that, I mean, this isn't in, I guess one of the questions I have, but just thinking of it in talking to you, I mean, I'm a young parent, for instance. So of course my kid is not at that. I mean, he's 1 year old, right? So he's not at that
Mhm.
age to have any sort of conversation like that yet, right? He can't say words
No.
yet. But when he does, I guess in my mind, I mean, by all means, you want to do what's best for your kids and for anybody, I guess. But I realistically could see how that would be really difficult. I mean, it would be hard to first off word things how you want them to, you know what I mean? So like ask the correct
Yep.
questions to get through to them, but then also, I mean, almost like I feel like I would have a struggle with it. So I'm sure a lot of other people would be is like if it goes a certain way and let's say they do have that mental health struggles, like knowing what to do afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, because you do care about them, you do worry about them, and it's kind of something that I guess at least I am not. I have no past experience dealing with. I wouldn't know how to deal with it, so I would feel a little overwhelmed of like, what do I do? And so I guess my question is just what kind of direction would you give? I guess we're talking in a scenario of a parent's perspective, but it doesn't have to be a parent, right? It can be anybody.
Yeah.
And of I guess in a sense the direction or the questions you ask, and then if they do open up to you in a certain way, like where do you go with it from there?
Okay, so let's back up just for a second to you as a parent of a young child and talking about mental health. Well, that sounds kind of scary, mental health.
Mm-hmm.
But if we start recognizing that our whole body health,
Mm-hmm.
and when we talk to our little ones about feelings,
Mm-hmm.
let our kids put words to what they're feeling. How many
Mm-hmm.
times have you been around a family where a child falls and you're okay, you're tough, but no, really it hurt and they needed to cry for just a moment and they needed someone to just coddle them for a moment and say, "You're okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how you're feeling." So if
Mm-hmm.
we could get past that, "Oh, you're okay, you're tough, you're tough." Let our kids feel what they're feeling. So it starts all about, it's when they're little, talk about how they're feeling and let them verbalize it.
Mm-hmm.
And then ask them, "What do you need?" Maybe it's a hug, maybe it's a Band-Aid, and then maybe they just get right back up to playing, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's a longer hug.
Mm-hmm.
But then later when our kids are older, it's really just being present and being with them and letting them know what they're going through. It's okay. The language, it's okay not to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
There is help. You are resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is permanent. So we can't fix it for them, but we can be there for them. Acknowledge what they have just told you, especially when it comes to mental health. If they are saying, "Hey, I am struggling, something is wrong. Thank you for telling me.
Mm-hmm.
I was so brave. Thank you for telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more."
Mm-hmm. And so
And
I
then
guess
we go ahead.
what would be, I guess, your answer for I mean, if you, I guess again in the scenario that we're talking about of a parent's perspective, and again, it's not just the parents, right? It can be another family member or a friend or whatever. It can
Yep.
be anybody. But if you see somebody, break a bone, there's no question you're going to go to a doctor, right? And there's no hesitation from that kid or from whoever that they're going to go to the doctor, right? And
Yeah.
because that's a physical health issue. But like hit the nail on the head of is it's all health, right? It's mental and
Yes.
physical health of how do you get over. I mean, I know that there's, and maybe not with everybody, but I think there's a hesitation for even the people that are affected by mental health to then go say, I am, I do have this health issue. I need help. And if it's a physical problem, it's not like they have any hesitation to go to a doctor. Whereas if it's mental health, if they go to, a therapist or whatever it may be, or even a close friend or somebody they trust, they're going to be a little more hesitant to that. So how do you, I don't know, what's kind of the direction you would give somebody of how to get over that obstacle, I guess?
Yeah, if someone came to me and said that they were struggling and they weren't sure what to do, again, the language, "Thank you for telling me you are resilient. Let's connect you with your doctor. Let's talk to your doctor." And that's really where it starts. But, we've got to recognize that just them admitting that something is going on mentally,
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge step in recovery. That's the start of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes just that load off avoids the crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to tell someone that I'm struggling and I'm not sure what to do about it. That's okay. Talk to your doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Who's a trusted person that you can talk to. So we
Mm-hmm.
connect them with someone that can help them because there is something physical going on. We don't see it. We don't see the physicality of a cancer diagnosis. It's
Mm-hmm.
internal. We don't see the heart disease. It's internal. The mental health illness is also internal. No, we don't see it. And it's not, diagnosed with a blood test or x-rays, but
Mm-hmm.
there truly is something chemical happening
Mm-hmm.
and it's treatable. Sometimes that means medication, sometimes that means counseling, sometimes that means both. Sometimes you don't need any of those things. You just need someone to be present, someone to talk it through, but also, acknowledging or helping someone acknowledging, okay, what are you watching? What are you filling your life with? What are you listening to? How's your diet? Are you getting sleep? Are you getting exercise? All of those things play a role in not only our physical health, but our mental health as well.
Yeah.
So if you recognize someone is struggling, the language can just be very simple. I'm concerned about you. How are you doing really?
Mm-hmm.
Not the how are you because we always get the good or I'm fine.
Yeah.
No, really. How are you doing? Here's what I'm seeing and it concerns me. And so a lot of the signs, and I think that was one of your questions,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to roll into that, a lot of the signs, isolation. People start distancing themselves. And you can just sometimes see the wearer physically.
Mm-hmm.
It might be in the way that they're keeping themselves up. It might be that they just really look drained, that they just truly look drained. We
Mm-hmm.
think of mental health illnesses as always being present with sadness or presented with sadness, but that's not the case. In my own case, I was angry. I was irritable. I was on edge, and my husband was walking on eggshells all the time. So it's not just sadness, it
Mm-hmm.
can be anger as well. But the
Yeah.
isolation, and then maybe an increase in substance use, maybe that we normally wouldn't see.
Okay.
Yeah. So those
Yeah.
are sometimes the signs.
Yeah. And I mean,
Sometimes we don't have the signs.
yeah. And I guess with that too, I mean, obviously there is no, everybody's different, right? So it's not like there's going to be
Yeah.
one size fits all. And I guess maybe it's, as somebody that, just sees, people that are affected and stuff like that, sometimes it almost feels like the people that you would expect, you would never have expected that from because they, you
Right.
do associate mental health issues with sadness. And sometimes they can be the type of people that, I mean, they're the life of the party, right? They're always joking, they're always smiling, but maybe that's, I guess, and everybody's different, so it's hard to tell, how that is. But it just, I guess I don't know if there's like a, you know, way to tell for, everybody because of the sense that, and it is so hard because it is everybody's different. Some people might be sad, some people
Yes.
might be isolated, some people might be substance abuse or angry or
Yeah.
there's so many different things that it's just hard to tell. And the hard thing, for somebody that wants to help, but it's hard to see those signs, is like, as with I guess you look at it, is there's no, unfortunately, sometimes there's no way to help, and until it's too late, right? And so trying
Right.
to get to people before that
You're
happens.
right. And that's where we as individuals and as community members need to start talking about it more and normalizing that mental health illnesses are real illnesses and that they're treatable.
Hmm.
And hopefully in those cases where maybe somebody we don't ever see the signs because
Hmm.
they do happen,
Hmm.
unfortunately, and we just don't ever see the signs, but they're getting these messages from the people that they're surrounded with that, hey, it's okay not to be
Hmm.
okay sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there before too, and it's okay. I
Hmm.
got through it.
Yeah.
It's okay to reach out and ask for help. And for those that when there are all those times where we don't see it and it happens, we have to let the our loved ones or the people that are experiencing it know that it's not your fault. They died from an illness.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, always a sad thing. And so, I mean, I guess one other question that I again didn't send you, just I'm thinking of while I'm here. Speak on your own self, because I mean, kudos to you for being, like you said, quote unquote, tough enough to be vulnerable and share your story and put yourself out there in a way. And I guess my question to you is in doing that, have you noticed? I mean, in a small town where again people are concerned about the rumor mill and and all that kind of stuff, do you feel like you've made a direct impact on, you know, the community you live in, and I guess Montana as a whole, where maybe some people have reached out to you, or you've had conversations that you feel like you probably never would have had if you wouldn't have taken it on yourself to be vulnerable?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have had people more strangers than local people reach out and say, that made a difference for me. You
Hmm.
helped me sharing
Hmm.
your own story. Locally, I have people giving me kudos for bringing it to light.
Hmm.
So hopefully it's making an impact. I can't say for certain,
Hmm.
but I think that it is.
Yeah,
Um,
for
I
sure.
think that it is. Yeah. We're doing more as a community and as a county.
Uh-huh.
So in my own story, I grew up in a time where mental health illnesses, there was a tremendous amount of stigma. And, it was really kind of taboo to even talk about it. And so I did not see a therapist. I did see my doctor and I did get medication for my depression. But even after my depression, I felt was treated and dealt with, and I no longer needed the medication, the thoughts of suicide would still come for many years after. And once I recognized that, I could get through it, I could work through it. And for me, that was exercise. That was, I get out on the cow trails of the ranch and I hike with my dogs. And I
Hmm.
literally talk to my dogs. I talk to the air and I pray. I talk to God. And
Hmm.
that has been my therapy. I would highly recommend now to anyone, it's okay to get therapy. It's okay to
Hmm.
talk to someone because they're there to help you connect the dots. I've been
Hmm.
able to do that on my own, but maybe that would have happened a lot sooner for me than later, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And if so, I guess again, just a few closing, I guess, questions. If someone's watching right now, and again, hopefully the whole mindset is that this is a lot more of a impactful video than any other video I've done. And I guess so, if there is somebody watching that's watching this and struggling right now, or they're sitting in a vehicle or in a combine, and or not combine, but tractor or whatever, and they are struggling, what would you want them to hear? What would you tell them in a way to help them?
I would want you to know that you're not alone. Nothing happened to me as a kid. I wasn't traumatized. Nothing bad happened to me. I got sick and I got through it. So if I can get through it, you can get through it. You
Hmm.
matter. And I've been that person in the tractor. I've been alone in my thoughts. There are ways to get through them.
Hmm.
And if it is just too much to reach out and ask for help, please just do something then for yourself. Do a self evaluation. Okay, how am I talking to myself? How am I feeding myself? What am I who am I surrounding myself with? You need to make a change to get better. If you had a broken leg, you wouldn't be hobbling around on it. You would make a change for it to get better. Same thing for mental health. You have to do the work. You might have to take the medication. You might have to do some therapy, but that it doesn't, it's not a forever thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some cases where there are mental health illnesses where you do have to take medication for life. So
Mm-hmm.
what? Sometimes you have to take blood pressure medication for life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there are these ebbs and flows of life where, illnesses come and they go. And it's
Uh-huh.
just a part of life.
Yeah.
It's just a part of life and it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay.
And so with that, again, I think it's huge, and I think it's always good to hear somebody that is vulnerable and putting themselves out there like yourself. So I guess if there's somebody watching that wants to find you, follow you, and be able to just kind of learn from you, learn your story, and maybe be able to reach you if they are ever going through a tough time, how would they be able to do that?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram is where I share a lot of tips, but also just some of the journey. And I have some resources there, and there are so many in the state of Montana. One resource I want to share before we go, 988 is an excellent resource. You are talking to someone trained here in the state of Montana,
Okay.
and they can help avoid, you don't have to call them just if you are in crisis. They can also talk you through when you just need someone to talk to. That's a
Mm-hmm.
really great place to start. But you reach out to me on social media. My email, you can share my email. I don't know how you do that here, but nataliekerfoot@gmail.com. I am
Okay.
open to everyone and anyone who wants to listen. I would talk to just
Yeah.
one person.
Yeah. So, I mean, on that, I guess to speak to you, I mean, just to give people an idea, I'll put a link to your Instagram in the post so people could find you there. I mean, when I reached out to you earlier this week, it was a matter of days, and we were able to get you on there. So, I mean, you're extremely easy to reach. So, if there is anybody that wants to reach out to Natalie, definitely please do so. So, I guess in
Yeah.
closing, of course, we could talk about this topic for much longer, but I don't want to
Yes.
keep you too long. So I guess ultimately, huge thanks to you. Kudos to you for putting yourself out there, and thank you for taking the time to meet with me and being able to post this. So,
Absolutely. Good kudos to you for recognizing it. And it's when people like you do things like this that makes a difference.
well, thank you. So I guess that's all we have for today. I appreciate you, and yeah, hit the button and follow Natalie on her Instagram. So, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Yep.
Karston. Take
Bye
care.
bye.